there's a threshold level of identifying somebody as another person or an entity that's involved in firing off these mirror neurons. Okay, looking at a chair doesn't necessarily fire off your mirror neurons unless perhaps you imagine somebody sitting in the chair. Okay, or I don't know, we draw a smiley face on it or something like that. Now, there's a certain level of, let's see, it needs to, whatever you're looking at needs to imply consciousness or imply intelligence or something like that. And for humans, obviously, it's going to be some sort of human shape recognition or something that implies a human shape. Things that are implied at human shapes, they don't have to be very detailed. I mean, I gave the example of the smiley face. I have a nice day, smiley face. Okay, you recognize that as a face, and it's just a few simple lines. Right? Or you watch a cartoon, right? Have some of the crudest cartoon art like South Park, right? Yet you still watch it and you laugh because you're in some way empathizing with the characters, even though they were originally, they're not really cut out pieces of paper, but they're made to look like cut out pieces of paper. They're actually Corel Draw creations. But, but even something that simple will activate the sense in your mind that says this is an entity and my mirror neurons are going to respond to that. Right? Now, in traditional magic, we identify all sorts of things as entities. We bring up the Goetia, where there's these detailed descriptions of these 72 entities that are in the Goetia, and some of them are sort of vaguely human, some of them are sort of animal-human crosses, some of them are more animal than human, some of them are weird hybrid, what the fuck sort of things. But nonetheless, there's enough about them that they activate our sense of this is an intelligence. There's enough about them that implies human or identity. And since they are actually derived from humans, they're evocations, they're parts of human consciousness, they do imply the whole, and they do imply an entire organism, or an entire entity that enables us to recognize them as entities and to fire off our mirror neurons and cause changes in ourselves. Right? Now the same happens with invocation, where we're looking at images of gods or goddesses. Right? If you're looking at, even some of the like Egyptian gods or goddesses that are they're part animal, they're part human. They have the heads of animals and the bodies of humans, or vice versa. They have the bodies of animals and the heads of humans and things like that. Right? The Sphinx, for instance, has the body of an animal and the head of a human. Yet you look at it and it seems to convey not only entityhood, it represents an entity, but it also conveys a lot of information to you and actually may induce a state simply by looking at it. Particularly if there's some other, there's anchors involved in the symbolism of, the body of a lion and the head of a human, and so on. The researchers, they've continued to research mirror neurons. One current theory now is that autism is that autistic people have different mirror neurons, or their mirror neurons do not respond in the same way as other people. And there's been quite a bit of research into that at this point. Now, the Italian researchers, they built a career on this, and they kept studying. They stumbled over this fortuitous thing during their experiment, and they've continued to study it and publish more and more research on it. One of their more recent ones that was very interesting is they took their original experiment of having somebody reach for a piece of fruit while the monkey was wired up, and they added a piece of cardboard to the experiment. They put a piece of cardboard in front of the bowl of fruit. The researcher would reach behind the cardboard where the monkey could not see and do something, either grab a piece of fruit or not. Now, every time that the researcher would do that, would reach behind the cardboard, whether he grabbed the fruit or not, the monkey was apparently imagining that he was reaching for the piece of fruit. And the mirror neurons would again be activated, which is very suggestive to my mind in terms of magic, in that our imagination can also fire off the mirror neurons if you imagine another person. Now, practically, we know this, right? If you, you think about somebody that you find really sexy, you can get aroused imagining them visually. You think about somebody that really pisses you off and imagine them or see them in your mind, well, you could get pissed off, imagining them. I mean, these are kind of basic things. Likewise, on a magical level, if we imagine a deity or we hallucinate an entity or something like that, we'll have the same kinds of responses, right? Which gives us a lot of leeway, fun kinds of things we can do on a magical level. I like to use the term entity modeling, okay, because we're able to build a model in our mind and to recognize it as an entity. Right? So entity modeling comes into play in all different aspects of magic, obviously in both evocation and invocation. For us to perform an invocation, evocation actually has to precede it on some level. Even if you're looking at a statue or an image of an entity, you have to give it entityhood in your own mind. You have to build that model in your own mind and project it onto whatever this thing is. Right? If you're invoking something by, not necessarily with an image that you have, but by saying a prayer to it or reciting an invocation poem or something like that, what will actually happen is that you will evoke it first from your own mind by creating an image of it, an external image of it, and then invoke the qualities from it that you intend to use. This is a sort of different view on magic than the traditional one, where things are discreetly inside of us or outside of us.